Good night, YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to the Dice of That Toy review. Once again, you would have never thought I'll be doing a second video for today, but the reason why I'm doing it is because, one, it's pretty much hot and humid. Obviously, it's about 24-25 degrees Celsius outside at the moment. Two, obviously, because of this, I need to pretty much film myself from now on because, well, there's been a lot of washing going on here, and therefore I think that's going to be, I don't know if it's my last video wearing this t-shirt though, but I got a funny feeling, yes, on a nice hot summer's day, it's the perfect condition to do a bit of laundering, I guess. Well, yes, it's actually quite nice to do a bit of laundry though outside there, when it's nice and hot and sunny, because it's pretty much dry, it's hot, but the also troublesome part is it's also humid. Our summers can be quite humid, of course, and I've actually realised that though. But the reason why I did this review is because I actually made 2 more planes. That's my third reason behind it, though, of course. Yes, it's actually quite amazing though. Let me just go ahead and showcase these 2 planes for you though, by just grabbing the webcam there, and I might show you what these planes actually look like, because those planes actually look fairly nice whenever I look at those things. And here are the planes which come in this set, and therefore it's actually quite a fantastically designed toy pair, of course, of airplanes. Of course, yes, the first one I might take a look at is this one here. This is supposed to be some kind of Royal Flying Doctor Service plane. Normally a lot of flying doctors in Australia. Of course, yes, these are very well known in the outback. The Royal Flying Doctor Service. Looks like the letter S has been, well, sloppy though, and it says the letter F. Quite weird though, hey? This plane is actually playing a bit dirty. It looks like it's gone playing crazy. Sorry for the pun. But this is actually quite a nice looking plane. I don't know what aircraft this is. I think this is based on a real plane. I think is it called the Pilatus PC-24 aircraft. I thought of that one, and it's quite nice. It's got the flying kangaroo right over there, a little bit like Qantas, and there's the other side here as well. Why is it giving me a bit of a Qantas sort of vibe though, looking at that kangaroo though? It's quite funny. A lot of aircraft though tend to be modelled after aircraft in Australia than anywhere else in the world. Maybe it's because of its desert centre, of course, called the Outback, is, you know, very famous, of course. And there it is, there's no VHVWO, or should I say VH-VWO. They're supposed to be jet engines, turbines, I think, at the back. And it is quite nice though. I think back in the good old days, they would have used cardboard tubes from toilet paper and all that stuff. But it is quite a nice looking replica of that aircraft there. I mean, I love the face, of course. It looks quite goofy and a bit more, well, cow art sort of style, more cartoony. Of course it has green eyes, which is interesting because most green eyes tend to rely on bad characters though, but this is a good character because, well, this plane flies and there's medical stuff, right, because it's a flying doctor plane. And in fact, obviously, this is their first jet plane now, their first flying doctor jet, of course. The Pilatus PC-24, I don't know when it was delivered. I can't really remember though, but it looks quite nice. There's the Royal Flying Doctor Service logo here as well. Should have been called the Flip-Flap Flying Doctor Service. But yes, it is actually quite a nice looking plane, apart from its drooping tail at the back though, which just does my head in there. I mean, if all planes would pretty much have their stabilizer tails a bit more static, then it would have been a lot more better and yet again realistic at the same time. But nevertheless, it is a nice looking airplane, of course. It's got a very nice looking colorization of red on the wings underneath, as you can see. Okay, and there's also like a combination. It's like red, white, and blue. It's like an Australian plane with American colours, but this is a flying doctor plane. Whenever I think of it there, I think, yes, it looks fairly nice. So I think there's another colorization of this plane going about though. But let's take a look at the NetJet. Is it like a Cessna Citation sort of plane? it looks quite nice. It's like a private jet whenever I look at it, because it's got the back turbines. So it looks very two-dimensional rather than 3D looking. The stabilizers, they're okay, but I mean they're not the best. I mean, I've just used water just to glue these on. I might have to add super glue on just to, you know, come in and re-glue this and reinforce that component though. Otherwise the components would literally fall apart my hands. But nevertheless, it is quite a nice looking airplane, of course. Of course, yes, I've decided to make planes because, well, we've got the Minions film coming up though this year. And I also thought of that idea though after looking at Disney planes, Disney cars, and also Despicable Me stuff as well. Of course, there's the name VH-FUM. Thought it said something else. Really, don't I? Yes, it's a fairly nice looking airplane there. It looks like it's going plane crazy like the other one, which was the Flying Doctor plane. But crikeys, I would have never thought I'd be making two planes. Yes, planes do flap their wings when they're in turbulence, but it's most likely, you know, mild though. Normally the wings are very static, and they don't flap though, because, you know, I mean, apart from the flaps, and the other intricate parts of the plane, like, you know, the sharklets or the wingtips of a plane. Well, I definitely say wings. The wings on the plane though, they just feel nice, but I think that looks like it's about to come off. It's not as nice. I mean, not only for the fact it's bland, but it does look like there are some bits that need to be reinforced with glue. Better off though, I think. Adding some glue onto that, on the wing and the stabilizers, I think. But this one here, the Flying Doctor one, man, I actually love it. Apart from its droopy looking back stabilizer tail at the back though, which is just playing me up though, crikeys. It's still quite a nice looking plane in terms of its design. Of course, yes, this is a plane designed not only just for the outback interior of the Australian deserts, but also it's a plane that is very famous in Australia. Of course, yes, for being like one of the most famous of all, how would you say it? Not just jet, but also the most famous plane in Australia. I mean, normally whenever I think of air ambulance, you often see helicopters, but this is amazing. An air ambulance plane. Look at that. I can actually do this one again in takeoff mode. And also this one here, because I think that's nearly the end of the video. We might get this one flying, although it's not as nice as the Flying Doctor in my opinion. Let's give this thing a good takeoff. Well, I think that's about it though, guys, eh? So what do you think about this amazing, interesting, simplistic comparison? And actually, speaking of comparison, before I should actually end the video, maybe I should actually compare the length and also the cockpit design of the plane. So with these two together though, of course, there's the cockpit on the Cessna NetJet plane is a little bit, how do you say it, a little bit chunkier, whereas this one here, the Flying Doctor plane, is a lot more, how do you say it, slimmer and a bit more refined, whereas this one here looks a little bit chunky and thick at the end. But this one here has got a much more pronounced slender. I think the cockpit is a little bit, I think if I remember, I don't know about you, but the cockpit seems to be a bit, I think this white one here, the NetJet plane, seems to be a little bit longer than this Flying Doctor plane they have there. Also the tail seems to be a bit different on both of them. In terms of their heights, including the stabilizer of course, what I've actually realised, if I put the stabilizer between those two, I've actually realised that this white one here seems to be a little bit more taller and a lot more longer, a little bit longer than the Flying Doctor plane, which is actually quite strange. But nevertheless, these planes look great though. These little business private jets are, I mean, apart from the Flying Doctor, that wasn't really a true private business jet, but it's some kind of medical plane. Of course, yes, this is basically something that I can pay homage to that plane there, which already has got like a kangaroo logo there, which is the F-86 Sabre plane. So anyways, if you really enjoyed throughout the rest of this whole video, please give this video a like, subscribe for more videos in the future, including tour reviews of planes. And I have to say, the conditions outside are hot and humid. and my crockies, it is hot as not just the outback, but I can also say Malaysia, because of the tropics. Well, don't you really like that tropical heat? If you don't like it, well, it doesn't matter. It ain't matters to me. Well, because I felt the heat before. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Oh, there's a plane crash. It looks like the plane's attacking the penguin, but what about this one here? And fly for now. And there goes the flying doctor. Oh, yeah. Somebody told me it's best to watch the air crash investigators.